Dom, depending on what happens to Manchester United on a certain weekend in the Premier League, it's either Amorim in crisis or Manchester United and Amorim have turned a corner. This one feels like, for the first time in weeks, we're just here. A bit of stability, maybe, dare I say it?
Yeah, it'd be nice because, I think when I was on last month, I was talking, I feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for the sort of magnitude of focus that's been on him, everything that he's dealing with. He's still a young man dealing with the biggest club in the world, if you want to say that, and all the problems that have been behind the scenes and everything that he's trying to change. 3 wins and a draw's a steady little run of form. Get another couple of wins on top of that, and you're starting to get somewhere. I thought it was interesting to say that he listened to him say yesterday that he thinks the players are sort of buying into him more now, which, when you go back to what was said in after they lost in Grimsby, when he thought the dressing room had gone on him.
Spoke really loud.
Yeah, I really didn't like that. I thought that said a lot about the dressing room. I really didn't like the sort of how the dressing room was painted in that sort of situation. There's, like, I don't like this idea that players can just decide the manager's not for them and stuff, you know, not give it their all. I'd like to see him do well. There's been too much turmoil at Manchester United. There's been too much flux. They need a nice bit of stability.
Charlie, the Sunday Telegraph also says that Amorim had brushed away questions regarding potential Champions League qualification before the game. And they said, and he's right not to get carried away. However, aside of Arsenal just now, who we've been talking about, who seem to be running away with it and seem to be very, very consistent, there doesn't seem to be very much consistency amongst the other teams. Now, United seem to be in this unique situation at the moment where there's no European football. It's effectively a game a week where he can really push forward his ideas to his players. And Dom mentioned it there. They seem to be buying into it. Is there an opportunity here for them maybe to sneak in to the top 4, maybe top 5 if
Absolutely.
5th place gets it?
100%, yeah. I think, as you say, not being in Europe is helping United, certainly helping Amorim. I think, yeah, there's a lot of inconsistent teams in the Premier League at the moment. And, yeah, I've spoken to a couple of people, United fans, in the last week that were saying about potentially winning the league. I don't think it's going to happen.
I think the tongue might have been in cheek there.
No, it wasn't. No,
okay.
It really wasn't. But look, yeah, top 4 definitely at the moment.
Okay.
And you know, just simply because there are a lot of sort of 6 out of 10 teams in the Premier League at the moment, and teams that could go on, you know, win 4, lose 4, which we might see United do again. But on current form, it looks as though they're getting some proper consistency back. So I think they'll be all right, and they'll definitely get into Europe, whether it's 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th.
And Carl, one of those key players, we touched on it when we were off there, is someone everybody seems to be talking about with regard to United's supposed resurgence just now, Matheus Cunha.
Yeah. Got a goal last week against Brighton. Seems to have the makings of a future cult hero. One thing that's become quite notable about him is, even though he's got the artistry you might expect from a Brazilian attacking player, he also blends it with a little bit of shenanigans and defensive moxie, shall we say. One thing...
Just on United now, the Sunday Telegraph says Diallo wonder strike rescues a point to reward Amorim faith. There was not a 4th consecutive Premier League victory for Amorim to mark his 1st anniversary. We shouldn't forget. 1 year yesterday when he got appointed. But there was progress of a kind. This was the first point United had claimed from falling behind since the game away to Bournemouth in late April. So with 3 steps forward, you could say. Carl, what does yesterday's draw represent? Half a step back or just staying where they were?
Maybe you've dented morale, but it's not been derailed entirely. Amorim, in his post-match press conference, said that the team had the feeling of maybe they couldn't win the game, but they definitely knew how to not lose the game. And he was asked about, if this was played last season, do you think you would have lost? And I think that's a fair assessment of this Manchester United team. They are still prone to the same weaknesses and fragilities that we've seen, not just on their Amorim last season, but also on the Ten Hag. So when they are prone to conceding punches and bunches, to use the old verbiage. So it's not, they don't just concede 1 goal, but they can concede 2 or 3 in 5 minutes. So They go from 1-0 up to 2-1 down in the space of, I want to say 5 minutes in the start of the second half. But the good thing now is, through this sort of newly refurbished attacking line and a team that is getting more acclimatised to what Amorim wants, they are finding ways to score extra goals. So, you know, the attack is good enough to bail out any mistakes the defence makes, shall we say.
Dom, depending on what happens to Manchester United on a certain weekend in the Premier League, it's either Amorim in crisis or Manchester United and Amorim have turned a corner. This one.
First of all, Amad Diallo, we heard him there and clearly has great talent, and we saw that today going forwards. Does he create a conundrum for United?
Yeah, I think conundrum's the correct word, because he's in the team because of his attacking qualities, but he can't play in the 2-10 positions because you've got Mbeumo and Cunha that are playing really well. So where does he play? He plays right wing back. So what happens is he finds himself in defensive positions at times, which isn't his strength. If you look at this graphic, this is Hudson-Odoi's touches of the ball. So Callum Hudson-Odoi is an attacking player and he's very good in these positions. This is where he wants to get the ball. Amad, that's his average position today. So he's also an attacking player and he wants the ball going forward. But sometimes he finds himself here. Now, this is not what Manchester United want from Amad. If you look at Lenny Yoro, he's got eyes on Nico Williams, who makes an inside run. I think they've tried to isolate Amad against Hudson-Odoi. Casemiro can deal with Nico Williams, and what I would like is Lenny Yoro to come across and be telling Amad, I'm with you, send him inside. But Hudson-Odoi gets to the byline with ease, puts a cross in, they nearly score. This time, again, he's in this sort of fullback position because he has to do his work. He's an honest lad and he's trying to get back in and do a job for the team. But it's not his quality. His quality is going forward. So as we've highlighted him, as we freeze it, we've got the 3 centre-backs. If Luke Shaw moves back a little bit, De Ligt is marking Milenkovic, and then Lenny Yoro can move back and do Morgan Gibbs-White, which would allow Amad to be outside to do Hudson-Odoi. But as we roll it on, now we have Amad in a centre-back's position trying to head a ball out, which is not his strength, and then they concede from that. On the flip side, this is why he's in the team, because he's quality, and when he's going forward, he's devastating. Gets it out of his feet, great shot, equal save. Again, going forward, brilliant. Takes a touch, acres of space. This is a beautiful ball, bounces about 2 yards out, unlucky. Casemiro's unlucky not to score. This is his goal. Wham! What a strike that is. That the technique, if you look at the technique, it's perfect. What a goal that is. So this isn't the player that you want defending. Here, he puts a ball in